Hey there, what's happening in America? Thanks for hanging out with us here on SportsCenter. Michael Leeds alongside Damien Woody. Abbreviated edition of SportsCenter, taking you to the top of the hour, but it's week one. And so many storylines the NFL season, Damien. Yep. But there was a certain game with a certain quarterback facing another certain quarterback. Bucs, Saints, you know the deal. Tom Brady, after so many years and so many rings in New England, now leading the charge into the win. Bruce Arians and the Bucs get the L.
Came out lighting up. We go right down the field and score a touchdown. So I wouldn't say he was out of sync at all until we started screwing it up. We didn't run the ball as well as I thought we would on the edges. We had some success, but we had some good drives and we had some really poor drives. But the turnovers and the penalties were the key.
I thought defensively we were outstanding. I'm proud of how we played in the kicking game as well. Offensively, that was probably as bad a game as I've had as a play caller. Just trying to find a rhythm and a tempo that was awful. So there'll be a lot we have to correct and clean up. There always is after the first week of the season, regular season, and certainly first game really for us to play. But there's a lot of things we're going to look at that we're going to need to clean up, and we'll try to do that beginning this week.
I think for us coming into it, obviously we knew it was going to be different. We knew there was going to be just some unknowns, but at the end of the day, it was, hey, worry about what we can control, create our own energy, focus on the job that we have to do. And listen, I thought it was a great team win. We're going to look at the tape, and there's going to be plenty of mistakes in all areas of this game. And obviously we can get so much better in so many areas. But at the end of the day, it was a great team win against a really good opponent.
It's a game of execution, and obviously they, made more plays than we did, and made some just bad, terrible turnovers, and it's hard to win turning the ball over like that. So that's I obviously got to do a lot better job.
All right, so Brady has now thrown a pick six in each of his last 3 games, including the playoffs. He did it today. He did that wild card loss to the Titans, and of course, Week 17 against the Dolphins there in New England. It's the first time in Brady's career that he's thrown a pick six in 3 straight games. All right, Damien, so much expectation, but also questions with Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay. He was hyped up for his first game. Yep. You saw that emotion when he scored that first touchdown. What did you make of the overall performance?
Well, first of all, I thought the first series was spectacular by Tom Brady. And a lot of times those first 10 or 15 plays are scripted, and what you saw was vintage Tom Brady. The first play right here, you got the play action pass, and you got the corner route, and he just drops it right into a bucket. That's just a terrific pass play by Tom Brady. Here's another aspect right here, little quick screen pass. That's what New England ran all the time, all those quick screens, another big chunk yard, and then obviously right here to finish off the drive, Tom Brady doing a quarterback sneak to really get the Bucs going on the right foot. What we saw from Tom Brady, we saw a mixed bag. Again, we saw the first drive where he marched right down the field, scored a touchdown, and then we saw throughout the game there was some miscommunication. Obviously, you saw Tom Brady with the pick six on the throw to the far hash. Right. So there are things that's going to have to be fixed. But this is a long season, and Tom Brady and that offense, they're going to get this thing rolling.
And they weren't picked to win this game to begin with, right? So he's Tom Brady, but he's Tom Brady with the Bucs, and there's some other issues with that squad that has to be worked out. So, again, they get the L here in week 1. Washington, no mascot name this year, taking on the Eagles, and we pick it up in the third quarter. The Eagles were up 17-0 in this game. First play of the drive, Carson Wentz, he's picked up by Jimmy Moreland. He's going to return it back to the 20-yard line, his second interception of the day. And so that gives Washington really good field position. What do? 3rd and goal. You give it to Peyton Barber. He goes in. So now it's just 17-14. And then early fourth quarter is tied at 17-all, Damien, and Wentz gets sacked.
Yeah, listen, the Philadelphia Eagles had a lot of guys hurt, injured on that offensive line. And the one thing about this Washington football team, they are very talented on the defensive front.
No one in the history of Washington football has had more sacks than Ryan Kerrigan, who just passed Dexter Manley with 92. Barber on the pitch, fights off one blocker. He gets the first down. Ron Rivera electing to go for it on 4th and 1, and that keeps the drive alive. So you give it back to Barber, runs it in for a second touchdown of the game. That drive, 13 plays, gave Washington a 24-17 lead. And then the Eagles still with a chance. Wentz stripped by Deron Payne. Kerrigan recovers, and Washington reels off 27 straight points, the largest comeback against the Eagles in Saints history. Here's Sal Palantonio.
With his team down 17-7 at halftime, Washington head coach Ron Rivera, who's been undergoing cancer treatment, needed to duck into the trainer's room for a prearranged IV. Doctors had told him he needed to hydrate at halftime. Somebody needed to fire up his football team. So second-year quarterback Dwayne Haskins provided the juice.
When playing quarterback, I've learned over the years that there's opportunities in a game or in the locker room or before the game to fire guys up. So for me, I try to find a way to motivate the guys, and we find a way to come back second half and win.
The Washington football team faced a number of challenges and missteps this summer. A come-from-behind win in Week 1 seemed to be the right medicine. We needed this one, said Ron Rivera. That's for sure. At FedEx Field, Sal Palantonio, ESPN.
Well, since Colin Kaepernick first started refusing to stand for the national anthem back in 2016 to protest racism and police brutality, what NFL players have done and not done before games has sparked more emotional arguments than what they've done on the field the last 4 years, including what just happened Thursday night in Kansas City, when some fans booed the Chiefs and Texans when they linked arms on the field in a display of league-wide unity. And whether a certain portion of the NFL fan base liked it or not, several players and some entire teams used the moments before kickoff to show anyone who was looking exactly where they stand on the social injustices still plaguing our country today. Of course, a lot of anticipation on how teams would display and honor those. Of course, George Floyd's family there. He was killed May 25th by police in Minneapolis, honored before the game, several players kneeling. But the Packers, they stayed in the locker room during the national anthem. And then several players chose to have messages on the backs of their helmets. And teams refusing to come out for the anthem. The Dolphins said they weren't going to do it. You saw the video last week. And, of course, it wasn't just the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. They also played Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is widely recognized as the black national anthem across this country. And there, Frank Wright, head coach of the Colts, he took a knee. The rest of the players on his team stood. In Atlanta, players on the field for the kickoff. And when the ball went in the air, they all took a knee on the field, both teams. So again, teams around the league showing multiple ways how you can express your feelings by using the platform of the NFL.
I think our message was definitely heard. We spent a lot of time as a team, trying to put figuring out what it is we wanted to, portray, what message we wanted to portray, and I feel like it was heard for sure.
We will continue to bring attention to systemic racism and the injustice that our Black communities are enduring, and we will continue to demonstrate our convictions to support and uplift our Black communities. This decision was made by players and coaches collectively. It was a well-thought-out process and a stance that supports our belief in making a meaningful change.
I just know that we have a lot of people in this country, and we have teammates who are really hurting, and I just want to be there for them and be supportive of them, and through this whole process, going back now several months, and today was just another example of that.
It's been an emotional time where there's a lot of hate in the world. There's a lot of disappointing things that are happening. And when I think about Brianna, I think about somebody who seemed to be a gracious person, somebody from what we hear and what we read, but also, too, is somebody who was just trying to be at home. We need justice for Brianna. We need people to, step up, and our leaders in our country to be able to step up and make a change for these kind of situations, especially like those. And so, when I think about my daughter, I get fearful because of, a young girl like Brianna having her life taken away is pretty difficult.
Again, so many eyes on the NFL Week 1 to see how they would respond to social inequities, including Colin Kaepernick. And this is what he posted on Twitter. While the NFL runs propaganda about how they care about black life, they are still actively blackballing Eric Reid for fighting for the black community. Eric set 2 franchise records last year and is one of the best defensive players in the league. Of course, Eric Reid right now not on a roster in the NFL, former teammate of Colin Kaepernick with the San Francisco 49ers, and he also did not stand during the national anthem alongside Colin Kaepernick. We're still ahead here on this abbreviated edition of SportsCenter. Cam Newton, another much anticipated debut. What did he do with the Patriots in week 1? Find out next.